This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Good morning. This is the Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. I have a bit of I'm going to go Frankless task this morning because the producer loved that so much she reacted. I have to tell you that His Excellency, our supreme beloved leader, Commander... Oh, no, that's someone else. Mr. Frank, let's call him. That's what Basil Brush calls him. He can't be with us this morning. I'm devastated. I know you will be. But, you know, we miss him and we will do our very best to keep you entertained without him. And, you know, we weep when they're gone. We smile when they return. Bit of 19th century poet Emily Dickinson for you on Absolute Radio this morning. I'm not alone. Not in the studio, anyway. I'm joined this morning, as usual, by a Manchester correspondent, Mr. Alan Cockrell. Cochrane.
In the midst of Cockrell. See what you
Morning.
Oh, why did he add that bit at the end, Frank, to that jingle? It's so disrespectful. Morning, Cockrell.
Morning.
And in the studio, I'm not alone. I'm joined by the very fabulous stand-up, Pierre Novellie.
Hello.
Did I say that right?
You gave it a bit of spice, which I quite liked. There was a bit of spin on that ball.
I like it. I feel a bit like I'm addressing a sort of Parisian fashion designer who won't allow carbs in his atelier.
Yes.
Pierre Novellie.
Someone who orders desserts to look at them and cast them aside.
My favourite kind of person. Pierre is, I'm just going to say, I've seen something about you on Chortle. What does it say about you on Chortle, Al?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it for years, but I can't imagine it's all good.
Well, I've looked up. I'll tell you what it says about Pierre.
Oh, God.
Slick and slightly offbeat.
Slick and slightly offbeat.
Oh. What do you think it says about me? Short and slightly obnoxious. What do you think? Would you describe yourself as slick and slightly offbeat?
I think if I did, you'd have to shoot me, wouldn't you? I think you'd be legally obliged to execute someone who talks about themselves like that.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. I should say, I've got to do all the housekeeping. I'm the lady, so I do all the housekeeping.
Yes.
We keep things old school here.
Yes.
You can text the show on 8 12 15, and please do. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Pierre. Oh, I feel very glamorous. Oh, I didn't do a jingle for Pierre. I've got one, Al. What about this?
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Hello, I'm slick and slightly offbeat. Nice to meet you. Upon meeting someone, first thing I'll say now.
I love...
There's quite a sort of speed dating vibe to that.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, get across who you are.
Hello, I'm
I like it.
slightly
Well,
offbeat.
this is
Next.
And alone.
This is my first meeting with Pierre, so it did feel like a bit of a blind date.
Yes,
I think it's going well so far.
I think so.
Okay, good. So, the big question I have to ask you boys is this. I mean, obviously there was, a lot of devastation and chaos yesterday, but amongst all this, there was one bright spot, for me anyway, which was Big Jet TV.
Yes.
I've heard this being discussed, but I've not yet witnessed.
I've seen some clips. I think anything that brings that level of enthusiasm to transport's going to go viral at some point. Every dog will have its day.
I mean, we should explain. It's for anyone who didn't see Big Jet TV, and those people will be deleted from my contacts list. It was essentially a couple of plane spotters, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Who sort of stream landings live onto Twitter. And it turned out to be the most gripping thing. There were planes queuing up to land in these winds. And obviously, there is a slightly voyeuristic, slightly worrying element to it.
Yes.
Sort of will they, won't they?
Yes.
Would you both agree?
Yes, when you see a plane...
Jeopardy.
Yeah, when you see a plane give up on landing and you get to imagine all the passengers, the collective groan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was an element of that. But the host, Jerry, I mean, he is something else. And at one point yesterday, I was so excited. I was actually on the phone to Buzz, Frank's son, and I said, Buzz, turn on the TV. I mean, it was like Kennedy or something. That was my Kennedy.
You said, no, not that TV, Big Jet TV.
Yes. And he said, what do you mean? Why are you making me watch that? I said, Buzz, type in Big Jet TV. You won't be disappointed. We were gripped. We were on the phone together for half an hour watching it. Jerry is great because Jerry has a very definite presenting style. And he uses a lot of aviation lingo. He likes to sort of demonstrate that he knows his onions.
Yeah.
And at one point, I think this might have been one of my favourite moments on Big Jet TV, Jerry said, well, he'll say things like this. He'll say, here she comes, the big lady of the skies, the A380. Bit of a stubby undercarriage there. I mean, how dare you?
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
What's that noise?
Sorry, that was me watching Big Jet TV. I actually thought I would turn it off before we started again. Sorry.
No, do you know, I thoroughly approve. I love what a diehard fan you are. That you can't even avoid watching it during working hours.
Well, when you mentioned it in the last link, I thought I'd heard about it on the radio, but I haven't looked at it. And it seems that my YouTube algorithm, there's no level of boringness that it won't consider appropriate to show me. So I'm actually surprised that I haven't heard of Big Jet TV, because these people, like, I think a lot of people would scoff at them, wouldn't they? Because they're sort of plane spotters and whatever. So the scoffed at are the sort of people that YouTube shows me. But yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it.
Can I tell you another? I mean, Jerry's catchphrases.
Yeah.
One of my favourite Jerryisms. He says this a lot. He'll say, as the plane's coming into land, he'll say, nice little waggle of the elevators there.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes he'll say, elevator paddles. And that's a special one for me. I tell you what he said about one landing. He said, almost flirtatious, that landing,
Really?
you could say.
He's like a wine taster.
That's a very sophisticated type of flirting, isn't it?
Yes.
Well,
Almost flirtatious landing of the plane. I don't think I'd pick up on that if I was the person being flirted with.
Or,
Well, I
or
tell
a
you-
passenger.
he uses the same emphasis as a sports commentator.
Yes.
Like commentating on maybe a gymnastics display. He'll talk about
Yeah.
textbook landings, and he's very into feminising the planes.
Yes.
Bringing her down gently.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
called she, aren't they?
Yeah, is that a sort of naval thing originally? Boats were always a she.
I think it's a Jerry thing.
Ah.
Okay. I do love I like his naturalism. I promise I am going to stop talking about Big Jet TV at some point in a few
Don't
months'
make any
time.
promises you might not keep.
But you know what I love most about Jerry is he signs off in a very unconventional way. Because, normally with broadcasts, and this, Jerry will say, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. It's been quite a busy day on Big Jet TV. I will see you again on Sunday. He's taking the day off today.
Is it?
Bit of a strange decision from a commercial point of view, but, who am I to question Big Jerry's decisions? So, thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful day. Thanks from all of us at Big Jet TV. Now, normally at this point, you'd expect the broadcast to stop, but Jerry doesn't bother turning the cameras off. So you then see him rooting around for his coat, saying, oh, God, I've got a pounding headache. Stop. Have you got my mobile? I mean, can you imagine if a chat show host did that? If Graham Norton did that?
I suppose pounding headaches are a hazard if you spend all day in a flight path. I suppose.
I was going to say, it's a bit rich to spend the day underneath landing jets and be surprised when you've got a headache.
I don't know what it is. Since I've been doing this job, I'm really struggling with headaches for some reason. But can you imagine if they did that on the news? I would
great.
love it. I love a chaotic ending. Why do you think I work on this show? I love chaos. If a news presenter just said, well, it's good night from all of us here in the studio. Has someone got my phone? Has anyone got Nurofen? I've got such a headache.
Just started eating a pack of Revels.
I like the old days when they shuffled papers.
Yes.
Those have gone, haven't they?
Darling, we all love the old days.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Absolute Radio, by the way. I'm really sorry that Frank Skinner isn't here today, but I am here with the very wonderful Pierre Novellie.
Hello.
And Alan Cochrane. Do you want your jingles again, boys? You got this?
I'm all right.
In the midst of
Oh, you're getting it anyway.
See what you think.
And then we have a bit of French, bit of Italian, all your brasserie needs covered. Pierre Novellie. Do you feel more French or more Italian? That question to Pierre Novellie.
Well, I've got no direct connection with either, apart from the
God, I've made a
names.
terrible error. I'm so sorry.
But I had to learn French at school, so I suppose that's
that'll
already,
Yeah.
that's a pretty strong start.
And
Yeah,
we should
pick French then.
Yeah.
we should establish you have a lovely, I find it rather touching, a sort of bromance with Frank.
Yes.
You two spend a lot of time in Anglo-Saxon ruins together. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes. That's how we met. No, it's not. It's not.
Talk me through those experiences.
Well, it was I was Frank's tour support, and so we made sure, as a couple of Anglo-Saxophonists, that
That's not a thing. Please don't tell me you've got a band. If you two have a band called the Anglo-Saxophonists, I'm walking.
jazz bead covers. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you like the Venerable Bede as well?
Frank and I went to Bead World. I don't think it was open. Or was it open, or we just went around the museum bit? I might be getting Bead World mixed up with a museum about bead.
Okay.
There's a lot of bead.
We'll be hearing
tour.
We'll be hearing from Frank if you've got your beads wrong. Let me tell you. What can I ask you? Now he's not here. You know, when a friend's not here, you can say what you like. Really.
Sure.
What is it that he loves about cathedrals?
Cathedrals? What's not to love about cathedrals?
I'm starting to see why you get along so well.
Castles of the sky.
I'm still getting. Go on, Al.
I'm a secular atheist and I like them. So
Oh,
I
do
think
you?
I can totally see why somebody that's into that stuff would be really into it.
Even more so, yeah.
But
Oh yeah, they definitely won on the architecture historically.
would you be in a band
religious,
called
I mean.
a jazz band called the Anglo-Saxophonists? 8, 12, 15. Can I talk to you both about...
Yeah.
Thank you.
In fact, it's a contractual obligation, I would suggest.
Okay, there's a challenging incident I had, Al, at the vets. I had an appointment at the vets. I was getting my injections. I should say I'm a dog owner, Pierre. Are you a vet chien?
Not at the moment, but I grew up, was not raised by, but grew up around dogs.
Was not raised by.
It sounded a bit like I was saying I grew up in a pack, but...
Well, Al, if you got a dog, what dog would you get?
Ooh. My partner likes small, wheezing dogs, and I'm not a fan. I want a proper dog that will survive the winter.
Okay, I don't think you'd like my dog then. Alan it's a whippet yours, isn't it, Al?
She is.
She is, okay. So I have a petite Imperial Shih Tzu called Raymond.
Get a cream for that. Sorry.
Yes, and my condolences, yes.
Why did I know you were going to say that? I mean, I knew you were going to say that, Al, but I expected better from a member of the Anglo-Saxophonists.
Yeah.
I took him in for his jabs this week. My dog is a bit of a headline act at the vets. Mm-hmm. You know the type. He's a very look-at-me dog. You've seen him, Al, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, would you agree? He knows how to work a crowd.
He's a real head turner. No, I mean it.
Do you know, that might be the nicest compliment you've ever given me. And it was about my dog. Thank you.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I was telling you about the vet.
Yes.
Wasn't I? Mm-hmm. One of my fascinating stories about the vet. So I took my Imperial Shih Tzu, Raymond, for his jabs. And he's very popular there. And we were the only customers in the vet. Oh, patients. I don't like the plural. I mean, I wasn't planning on having any procedures done. So the receptionists and the various veterinary assistants there, they did their customary oohing and ahhing. I'm quite used to it, but I like it because I get all the praise. I don't have to do any of the work. It's great. It's like walking down the street with Frank. Except I don't, obviously have to take care of his toilet habits. But as we're sitting there, and I'm feeling a bit drunk on praise, a lady walked in, another receptionist, and you know what she said? Bear in mind, I'm the only customer in there.
Yeah.
And Raymond is the only animal in there. She said very loudly, "Oh, what's that stink in here?"
In a vet's.
Yeah.
This is like the jet headaches all over again. These people don't seem to know where they work.
And I thought, I don't like that.
No.
Because I think you are slightly narrowing down the list of suspects. If you're addressing your colleagues, you're assuming it's not them, and you're saying it loudly in front of me. I mean, do you think that was aimed at me, Al?
Well, it depends really, because I'd like to give the member of staff the benefit of the doubt, and I think there could be somebody I know there could be somebody in the wings who eats mackerel for lunch every day, and they're trying to make a sort of a passive aggressive point, like you shouldn't be eating that at work because it stinks the whole veterinarian place out.
Okay.
I don't even know what
I mean,
it's
that's
called.
obviously
Vets.
a rational way of dealing with it. That's not my style,
Right.
Pierre.
Okay.
So I felt it was being strongly implied that I was responsible for the smell.
You personally, not
Yes.
even the dog.
Not my dog.
That is brutal.
I took it very personally. And I just feel, okay, let's roll.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
Did
Let's
you
do
say
this.
something like it's my library scent? Because you use a scent library, don't you now?
No, do you know what I said? I said, "I'm sorry, does something smell?"
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
That's bold.
It's bold, isn't it? I went in strong. I went in hard.
Yeah. And in that moment, did they realise that you were the only customer in the room?
Well, you know what? I think if you start off with a bit of passive aggression, the beauty of that, you can always build.
Yeah.
You can always build on that.
Whereas if you punched her in the face immediately, you'd have nowhere to go.
Yeah. Does this story end with you scratching her eyes out? Is that what happened?
She wasn't fazed. I'll give her that.
Okay.
She wasn't
fair play.
backing down. She said, "Yeah, something really stinks in here." And then she said, "I tell you what it smells like, old mothballs."
Oh,
Old mothballs.
None taken. I mean, I've had some nicknames in my time.
it's one of my online
that-
names.
Now, you're probably getting a bit of a picture of me, Pierre.
Yeah.
Do you think I left that?
No, I think you launched Raymond at her like a grenade.
What do you think happened now?
I dread to think.
You'll find out in a minute.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I was telling you about my experience at the vets.
About
My-
your
You were in the
underdog.
middle of some beef, weren't you? There was some rap-style beef starting.
With my Imperial Shih Tzu Raymond. So yeah, the woman at the vets had essentially called me old mothballs.
Yes. Which is much worse than fresh mothballs. It's a different accusation.
I don't know, I quite like the vintage vibe. But she called me on mothballs. She'd said there'd been a smell. She then said it smelled like mothballs, which I felt was clearly indicating it wasn't the dog that she was referring to. I did happen to have a fun fur coat on, in a sort of blush colour, actually.
Oh.
And, what is there? You've got a problem with blush? Fun fur?
No, I was just...
Okay.
I was changing the picture in my head.
What were you imagining me in? Biker leathers?
It wasn't a blush colour, so I just
Okay.
coloured it in
Well,
my mind's eye, as it were.
Okay, well, that's what I was wearing. And I thought, is she suggesting my coat smells of old mothballs? That's where I went.
Yes.
Do you think Ray was thinking the same thing?
No, do you know what? I think Ray was blissfully ignorant of all of these shenanigans. Because unlike me, he has a very pure heart.
Right.
So I said, when she said it was old mothballs, I gave her an out. I said, you know what, it's probably my dog. He needs a bath.
Okay. Noble. The olive branch proffered.
I'd be scared to say that in a vet in case they say, "Oh, that's this extra service that we offer. That'll be 35 more quid plus VAT, probably."
Yeah, Alan doesn't like spending the pennies.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I meant plus VAT. They've got a VAT at my vets.
Very good. And so I gave her an out there. I said, it's probably my dog. He needs a bath. Would you have grasped hold of that? I think you would have. And do you know what she said? Do you know what she said?
She say, "No, it's you. I think you
she may as
stink,
well
madam,"
have.
and point right to your face.
Do you know what she said?
What?
I'll ask you again. Do you know what she said?
No.
She said, "I don't think it's the dog."
No.
She did. She did.
Did she get any more specific? Did she say, like, it's your breath, it's your armpits, it's your insoles? Do you think it's your shoes?
I just thought it was odd to flout the social contract like that.
Did a bunch of old mothballs tumble from her pockets? And she was trying
Well,
to
she
out
could have
herself.
said, "Of course it's not you. Don't be silly," but she didn't anyway. In the end, I decided I'm just going to deal with this face on. So I came out of our appointment, Raymond had his jabs, and as I emerged, I thought, let's save this through the restorative medium of comedy. That can, we can have harmony restored.
Yeah.
Like at the end of a Shakespeare play. And I looked over at her and I thought I'll make a little gentle joke at her expense. I said to Raymond, I turned round to him, "Pierre, you're looking alarmed at that." I said, "All right, we're all done now." And I turned to Raymond, I said, "Come on, old mothballs."
Okay.
And she was very decent about it. She looked at me, I think she got it. I think she finally got it.
Okay.
She laughed. The other receptionist laughed. I laughed. Even Raymond, a little smile played on his mouth. And she said, she said, "I promise you don't smell that bad." I like that.
God, well, that's not her being good about anything, is it? Oh my lord.
Oh, do you think not?
Is this a fur thing? Did she think your fur was like a real?
I don't have fur. Oh, you mean my coat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. No, I don't think it was. I was thinking she'd actually been very nice. Okay, well, now you've said that, Pierre, I'm going to go back there.
Yeah. We'll all go.
The vigilantes.
Kick the door in.
Do you know, I didn't know Pierre was like this.
Yeah.
I'm really warming to you.
Is that right?
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Absolute Radio. Our lovely Frank Skinner cannot be here with us this morning, but we have Pierre Novellie. I think I say that in a slightly self-conscious, all the French exchange is coming over way. What do you think?
Maybe. Everyone's very afraid of the name.
Oh.
And, I'm a stand-up and compares MCs will double-check.
So can you say it confidently for me?
Pierre Novellie.
Pierre Novellie.
He should be able to say his own name confidently.
I enjoy the accordion music. It feels like it would lend an air of looseness to sort of, retiling a bathroom or anything like that. You could do with that music playing and feel a bit like...
What do you think? What do you imagine doing to this music?
being shot against a wall, I think. Being blindfolded.
Yes, that's true.
By a squad.
That's one of Frank's favourites.
It's very good. I do enjoy it.
We have a lot to get through this morning, but there's something... Oh, I didn't mention, we also have, of course, the fabulous Alun Cockrell Cochrane. I was going to play I'm going to call it your Yorkshire-based In the Midst of Cockerel.
That's fine. It makes me
Do you like
hungry
that
because
one?
of that Hovis music. Is it not the...
Is it Hovis? Oh, what about this
So,
for
yeah,
both of
something
you?
like that. Yeah. I mean, I hate to play school teacher, but is it not the top of the hour? Should we not be doing that? All that stuff that comes
Do you know,
at the top of the hour.
You love to play school teacher, and I like that about you. You can text the show on 81215. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. I will ask you this at regular intervals, Pierre.
Yes.
When you and Frank go round the ruins,
Yes, so to speak.
Do you make VIP requests? Do you get special treatment?
Well, we were lucky enough to have a very competent tour manager who would call ahead and say, the Anglo-Saxophonists are in town, they're coming. Special arrangements have to be made, taken into account. And I will say, I mean, I studied the Anglo-Saxons at university, and I've seen...
Do you know, I'm just saying, I find that quite alluring. Everyone's got their
the
different
first time
things.
for everything. I will say, I met up with one of my old lecturers, and I said to her, Frank and I, we got into Essex Cathedral, and we saw all the sort of manuscripts, and I've touched the Galloway hoard. Shout out to the Galloway hoard. And it's very hard to give people who didn't study it an idea of what we're talking about, but just to say that my lecturer was furious.
Oh.
That I had done these things and
the
she had
Galloway
not.
hoard, though, would be a great follow-up to I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It.
Yes.
I love that.
It's the lesser-known follow-up.
But you see, it's interesting for the tour manager because obviously, I mean, he doesn't get that. Presumably he's worked with the likes of Whitesnake.
Yes, he'd done some quite rock and roll stuff. I think this was the first time he'd been asked.
Was it a first?
I think it might have been his first comedy tour, but it was definitely the first time he'd been asked to ring an Anglo-Saxon ossuary.
Yeah.
To see if we could look at the bones.
Oh, I love this. What's been happening other than Big Jet TV? Because obviously that's all I really care about right now.
Well,
let's be honest.
I'm honestly worried about what you've done to my algorithm for the YouTube, because now it's violence and home cooking and Big Jets being landed. That's mainly what my
it's the
YouTube
triumvirate.
is anyway.
What's
the big three.
That's a good text in. What's your YouTube algorithm? 8, 12, 15. Mine's complicated. I would say it's dogs, self-help, and a bit of Jay-Z.
Oh,
Okay.
Really?
Pierre Novellie, don't want to give you a hospital pass there, but
clips of Norm MacDonald being interviewed. A lot.
I thought you were going to say clips of Norman architecture.
Just footage. Clips of Norm MacDonald being interviewed, background music compilations for when I'm doing other things, and just sort of it's been warped by me looking at my own YouTube videos and trying to see how many views I have, to be honest.
But what fabulous honesty.
Yeah.
Are you sure you haven't got some venerable bead in there?
I leave that to the page.
Oh, do you know, he's very clever, this one, isn't he? Okay, I think we need to go to a break now. I don't really know. Frank's very good at getting out these links. So I think what we really need with us is... Hello, Mr. Radio. But he's not here. So how do we get out of this, Pierre?
How do we flee the link?
That'll do.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'd like to bring to your attention a headline: "Worst gift ever?" ? I've seen a news story. A husband bought his wife spring onions thinking that they were daffodils for Valentine's Day. In a news story that you think might be the script for a new Specsavers advert. But it isn't. It's I feel bad for the husband in question. His name is John Musk, or as the Sun write him up, hapless John Musk, 53.
I saw this story, Al, and we should tell Pierre. I mean, perhaps you can explain. I refer to the O's. I can't even say them.
The O's.
The O's. Beelzebub's staple diet. They make me so ill, onions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hatred, it's a phobia, it's all sorts of things. Al, you're familiar with my phobia about the O's, aren't you?
Yeah. Emily is one of those people that will ask any serving staff to make sure there's no onions in stuff, regardless of what it is that she's ordering. Cheesecake, make sure there's no onions in that. You know, I'm only kidding, you don't order cheesecake.
No, but you know why? Because it creeps in. They're so ubiquitous.
They're the base for most savoury dishes. But how sensitive is your onion-ometer?
Oh, you don't know. I've sat in this studio
Yeah.
and I've said, I smell onions. And then I've looked in the apartment block opposite, and I've seen in the kitchen someone frying, and I think it's coming through the air conditioning out of the building into here. That's how sensitive my smell. I can smell it miles away.
It's verging on psychic powers.
I thought you were going to say something else. I thought you were going to say psychotic. I've learnt, though, that there is a sort of compassion and tolerance for people that don't like anchovies. You lot are fine. People say, oh, yeah, of course. No anchovies, that's fine.
Okay.
If you don't like onions, you get abused.
You're a weirdo.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. And when I go to events or I'm flying, and obviously you have to fill out your dietary requirements, I've learnt never to just say no onions because they don't take you seriously.
No.
Do you know what I say?
Right.
And people sometimes
Daffodils,
mock me.
please.
No onions, no daffodils.
You know what I say? I say I find onions very distressing.
Very distressing.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that open enough of a window in their mind as to the sort of trouble they'll be in should they ignore you?
Mostly they smirk,
Yes.
but that's okay.
Smirking is fine.
Very fashionable to ramp everything up into some sort of anxiety disorder, though, isn't it? Very distressing. It's not just you don't like
Not
them.
for the first time. I'm ahead of the curve on that one.
Yeah.
I've been fearing onions for some decades. It's genuine fear.
That's a Smiths lyric, isn't it?
Well,
It's
you're
anything.
lucky that you're not Donna Musk, who's
Yes, Donna
wife
Musk.
to hapless John Musk. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for him in a way, because I think actually what he did was quite loving. He looked at his wife Donna and he thought, I want Donna with onions. It's a kebab joke.
Yes, I know.
Kebab joke. Donna with onions. You know. Thank you.
I felt you deserved something for that. Actually, I felt you wanted something for that, and you got it.
Yeah.
Are you happy now?
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got your proppers. Yeah, I felt this man was called John Musk. I like that name.
Yeah, he should really be in a perfume story, shouldn't he?
Well, Al, you know what I thought? I think it sounds like the sort of name that Lee Child was playing around with before Jack Reacher.
Yes.
Like a solid man's name. I'll tell you what I'm going to call him. John Musk. No, Jack Reacher.
It would feel good to slam your fist on your table, your desk, and say, "Get me Musk," when a problem
I've done
arises. Yes. Elon's hard-bitten cop brother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, do you think he's related to Elon?
Definitely. With this kind of social aptitude.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Do you know what a Big Mo is, Pierre?
Big Mo.
Yeah.
Big mustache.
Big Mo is something we do on the show. Al, will you quickly explain?
It's when people tell you something that they think is unknown and interesting, but is actually a really obvious thing that everybody says, like
Beautifully done.
that Big Mo on EastEnders is Gary Oldman's brother.
So I've got a Big Mo. Oh. Sting does the backing vocals on Money for Nothing. Oh no, Pierre looks surprised.
I was surprised. My Sting
too,
knowledge
actually.
is low, though.
You've ruined my Big Mo. That's
sorry.
not often I say that. We're talking about a revolting onion bouquet.
One of our regular correspondents, Ian Angel, still getting it wrong after all these years, has texted in, read the onion story. I bet he was upset it was leaked. And of course he spelt leaked L-E-E rather. I've ruined his joke as well.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's a disaster for him.
Yeah, sorry about that, Ian.
So, John Musk,
Yeah.
and we should say, please do text in on 81215. We'd love to hear from you. I've got a text in. I want to know. Pierre and I were talking during the break, during the musical interlude, and Pierre said something I related to. He said, I was an eerily formal child.
That's interesting.
Not quite Jacob Rees-Mogg levels, but closer to that than a normal boy.
Okay, we're going to go back to onions, by the way. Don't worry. I mean, I'm not, but these boys are. Can you give us an example of your eerie formality as a child? So what's the sort of thing that you would say?
Well, even something as simple as calling people sort of sir, like your friend's
Oh.
dad.
Sir?
Yeah.
What, you Elvis Presley?
I bet they like
Not like a double finger gun, sir.
No, it wasn't a compliment. Thank you very much, sir. So, how would you say it if you're addressing a friend's father?
Or just they drop you off, or you're going to their house after school for tea or whatever. Oh, thank you, sir, or whatever. Or saying, may I, or using that kind of using the language that you'd use if you were not just in the company of an old king, but a king you feared.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
maybe if you'd had food there, you might say, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" That
Yes.
sort of thing.
Yes, and then
It's
of
an
course,
Oliver Twist story.
and then of course I'd be sold.
You see, that's a lovely ending to the story. What an origin story you have.
Yes.
I think I was, when you said that, it just struck a chord because I was an eerily formal child. And I want to know if any of our readers were eerily formal children. What expressions, sometimes they're inherited from nans. I call them sort of nans expressions. When kids come out, I don't want kids to say the funniest things.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Frank, I would never do that to you in your absence.
I would, of course.
I know you would. But I'm keeping you on a tight leash.
Yes.
I, for example, would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. That's ghastly." No child should say ghastly.
And you had a disadvantage in the sense that you sounded like a sort of like a well-spoken English girl, I assume, which is the scariest voice for a child. Whereas,
I mean, it's the scariest voice, period.
yes, that's true. Whereas my eerie formality was undercut by a thick Johannesburg accent, which I think lent it some. It's less likely to find in a horror movie. Put it that
Okay.
way. Very few small South African children are haunting mansions anyway.
Yes, I did sound a little bit like something from a horror film. That's absolutely ghastly.
Yeah, that makes me think you want it to happen more.
Yes, I do. So yeah, that's our texting. We have that texting going, which is what eerily formal things did you say as a child? 8, 12, 15. I'd also like to start another one in honour of our onion discussion this morning. What ubiquitous food staple do you loathe?
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Have we heard from the outside world?
Yes, Iona Faz gets in touch and says
Me too. It's right in the studio.
Yes.
I can't find my jingle. Hang on a second. Where's that jingle? I like that. You know what I'm
The
going to
little slide.
Yeah, you know the one I mean. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't find it. Anyway, let's play something. We'll play that. That's it.
There we go.
Thank you, Ina Fez.
Says, my YouTube algorithm is currently episodes of The Good Life and Chance in a Million, which is quite sad considering I'm 24.
Au contraire, Iona Fez. Ina Faz or Fez?
Faz.
Oh, okay. I would say... Do you know what Chance in a Million is, Pierre?
I do not.
Okay.
I must confess, either due to youth or foreignness.
I felt like I was talking to my French exchange. Do you know what Chance in a Million is, Pierre?
Is a show with the game? Peut-être.
How would you say Chance in a Million in French? I don't know. I'm assuming you speak good French.
Chance in a... Oh, God.
Chance.
Chance dans un million. I mean, this is, this is franglais stuff,
It
really.
sounds so
pathetic.
much better. Anyway, Chance dans un million was an ITV, I think, sitcom, and Simon Callow played the lead character. Simon.
Oh, wow.
What was his name? Tom Chance.
Oh, right.
Do you see they put a pun on it? It was very clever.
Very good.
And his shtick, or I suppose his character trait, if you like, his only one, was that he spoke in note form. So he'd say, a bit like Spider-Man, or Spider-Man as I call him, does. So he'll say, must go shops now.
What?
Yes, it was very
Simon
strange.
Callow?
Yes, yeah. I
Is
swear
this a
it's
prank?
true. No, Iona Faz, will you back me up? This is true. It's quite niche, this stuff, but, if you like it, if you know, you know.
I thought the texting what eerily formal
Yes.
stuff did you do as a child was quite niche, but it's actually may I
lit
say
up.
it's lit up the switchboard. Yeah,
Yeah, you're saying it's niche. We are talking about a show where the host once did a text in, which was, what would you rather find in a pool? A corpse or, I can't remember what the appropriate word that was used.
it was I went to a local swimming pool and the pool was closed due to an incident. And
A murder.
I thought it was a floater, one of two kinds. Anyway.
So we
should move
basically
on.
did a texting, which was, would you rather find that
Yeah, one or the other.
Or a body.
or a body?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not that niche.
698 has texted, from my nan, I would say 5 and 20 past instead of 25 past
Yes.
when saying the time.
Yes.
From John Littlehampton. I like
John, I love that. It's so true. It's like, yes, 5 and 20. Quarter. Go on.
that. From my sat-nav, my daughter once said, have we reached our destination? Which is
love
obviously
that.
sat-nav inspired.
That's very good.
Oh, I love that. I like an eerily formal child, though.
It's good. Julia has texted in saying, my best friend's 6-year-old daughter opened her front door to me and announced, Margaret has perished, referring to her neighbour. And my 8-year-old nephew has always called our new baby a lovely chap.
Sorry. Oh, that's one of the best things I've ever heard. Apologies, by the way, for laughing, but it was very funny.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I was asking Pierre about his father
Yes.
during the last musical interlude.
Yes, because he has messaged me and pointed out that it is remiss of me to forget my own creepiest thing I've ever said. Which
Yes,
is
we're
sort of
doing a strange texting this morning, which is...
eerily formal children, of which I was one.
me too. And what is... can we call him Papa Novellie, or does that sound like a
Sure, it
bit
sounds.
frozen pizza?
I think it sounds takeaway. I'd
I love
like
it.
to think that it sounds like fresh takeaway.
Would I like Papa Novellie? I think I would.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean,
think
not
so.
in an inappropriate way, don't get me wrong.
He wouldn't like your dog.
Would he not?
Well, he doesn't like small dogs.
He hasn't met Raymond.
That's true.
Okay, what does he have to say for himself?
Well, when I was 2, my younger sister had just been born, and a family friend decided to be nice and ask me what it was like having a little sister. What do you think of your new little sister? You know, that sort of thing. And apparently I said, she disturbs my mind. Presumably shortly before cycling a tricycle on the ceiling.
I was going to say, it's fabulously Omen.
It's very Omen, isn't it?
Well, I think...
Again, the South African accent would have undercut it nicely, but...
And I liked... You see, I was called... my sister did have a nickname for me, which was Damien Emer, which she made up, which I never... I think it took me a while to realise what that was a reference to, but
Yeah.
I liked being an overly formal child. Eerily formal, we're saying. Have we had any other missives from the outside world, Al?
We have actually, and I should bring this to your attention, Emily. 364 has texted, hi Emily et al. That's and all. My dad had a pathological hatred of what he called unmentionables. He could smell them from several streets away
Yes.
and felt physically sick, agitated and distressed at their mere mention.
Yes!
Emily, you are the first person I've come across with the same phobia as my dad, sadly no longer with us. And this article this morning has made me... Oh, it's got praise. I'm going to ignore that
Okay.
bit. But
Who is this?
there you go.
364?
364, yeah.
Fellow
36
sufferer.
Ruth.
Ruth? I feel so seen. I cannot tell you how much this means to me. I mean,
Ironically on radio.
Yeah.
I should tell you, I am a member, Pierre, of which Alan knows about this, and he's actually been surprisingly non-judgmental about it, because I would judge me. No, I mean, I would judge me for this, Al. It is a bit weird. I am a member of an online, it's sort of a help group
Right.
called Onions Are Expletive Disgusting.
Right.
And I check in sometimes if I've been to a friend's house and they've served a shepherd's pie,
Right.
let's say.
Yeah.
Or a big bowl of onions.
Oh, well, I would never be friends
Like
with someone
apples.
who did that, ever. If I can smell onions in your house, I'm not coming in.
You're like a vampire.
Yeah.
It's not the first time someone said that, but last time it was in the 90s. I was having a lot of late nights. But if I go to someone's house and they'll serve a shepherd's pie, I don't mind if the onion is so caramelised that it's molasses brown. I can handle that if I can barely taste it. Sort of, it has to be woodland brown, though.
Got it.
I liked molasses brown. That's
Okay, should we stick with that?
that I want.
Let's stick with molasses. If, however, as happened recently, there are white, like it's towy veneers white, sticks of onion gleaming in the shepherd's pie, I can't.
With still crunch to them.
Oh, don't. Do you know how triggering that is for me?
The word crunch.
Just associating those two things. It's on, but I go to this website, to this Reddit group, because I find it really helpful. I'll check in. I'll have an experience where someone will say, "Oh, you don't mind cooked, do you?" I mean, they would never say to the vegetarian, "Oh, I've got some mince. You don't mind if it's cooked, though, do you?" Do you see? No onions means no onions. Read my lips. Yes, my lips are the ones that don't smell of onions.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Have we heard from our divine readers?
We have a lot of people getting in touch with ubiquitous foodstuffs they loathe.
Oh, go on.
A lot of eggs popping up.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Very common.
Do you know?
Sulphurous.
I've never got on with eggs.
No? At an onion level, or?
Oh, nothing's ever at an onion level. Nothing in this world. But I hear them. What have they got to say about it?
It's
eggs.
Eerily, it is a list of tweets just with the word egg. It seems like it's quite intimidating in a way. And interestingly, bananas have popped up. We've got a message saying bananas, dry, slimy, potential for mushy, just wrong. Hypocritically, that is from Anna Banana.
Do you know? It sounds like you need to work on your self-loathing.
Dry and slimy, though. That's a good point that I'd never considered about bananas. They can be both.
To be fair, I've dated people who are guilty of both of those things, dry and slimy. I want to know a little bit more about your week, Pierre. You're the guest. Tell us what you've been up to, please.
Well, I'm a natural risk taker. So yes, definitely. So when my future brother-in-law said that he was going to be spending one of his rare weekend evenings out playing in a Magic the Gathering card tournament.
What's that, please?
Imagine a card game based around sort of Lord of the Ringsy style stuff, fantasy, sort of orcs and elves and things. And now make that card game extremely complicated.
Okay, I like you, and we've got on well so far. But if we're going to get onto wizards and orcs, we're going to have a problem.
Okay, well, this is very much that territory. Now, I have played the game I would say twice at this point. And once he said that, I said, I'm in. I sort of invited myself because I thought I've never recklessly entered a tournament without having any expertise or training, and this is probably the safest tournament in which to do that.
Yeah.
Martial arts. No.
Is it fancy dress? Do you put a wizard's costume on?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Come on, Emily. That would belittle the Magic the Dragon game, whatever it is.
Are there dragon thing? Are there dragons?
Well, there's on
like
the cards.
WWE of the card game.
Yes. Yes. Blood in the ring.
So is it live action?
Yeah, you have to play with a person with your cards, your deck of cards, and I would say it was a very.
Someone's phone went off. Oh, it was me.
It was mine.
Okay.
It was a very male environment. There was of the tournament tournamentees, tournament attendees. There was one lady with blue hair, so it's all lining up, you know.
Oh. Was it blue hair in a young sort of Gen Z way rather than a
Drastic fringe.
lady in Benny Hill sitting at the hairdresser's way, blue rinse? Yeah.
Like, thought she was at the bingo.
Yes. See, I would have really loved that woman if she'd have been at the Magic Gathering. What was the average age at the Magic Gathering? That question to Pierre Novellie.
I did play against a guy who I assumed was sort of 25 to 30 and turned out to be 48. So I don't know what it is about. Presumably there's a portrait of him in an attic
like
somewhere.
how you're saying that. Like, that's very old.
No, but I mean, he looked like he looked younger than me. He looked elfin, I would say, appropriately.
Did he look businessman-like? Did he have a suit or something?
No. Everyone there looks fairly like they were fans of Jet TV before the storm.
Oh, big Jet TV fans.
Pre-storm.
Do you know, I'm going to be, very pre-storm Big Jet TV. That's the highest compliment
Yes.
you can give. So, just tell me in a word, What would you sum up the vibe at the Magic Gathering? Was it magical?
Intense, I would say, is the vibe. The word I would use to describe the vibe.
Okay, I like intense. We're going to hear more.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Pierre, our guest, was telling us about his little Magic Gathering.
Yes.
Yeah?
The Magic the Gathering tournament.
I do apologise. Magic,
right.
comma, very important.
Colon, maybe.
Oh.
We could be in that sort of territory.
You strike me
Not
as
gonna
a...
lie, when
Yeah.
you set this up as you being high on risk taking, I thought it might include like a motorbike track day or something, and it turns out it's card playing with I'm going to say it dorks. That's what it ends up being.
Look, Alan, it's not just dorks. There are nerds and geeks there as well. So, all, including myself. I mean, absolutely. Oh, you should have seen me walking in slow-mo through the doors like a cowboy, a bar, you know.
And when you get there...
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to suggest it's somewhat anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But you get there for your big battle and you sit at a table and play cards.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so. And I was roundly trounced.
Oh, that sounds bad.
I was absolutely humiliated by these expert players. I had no idea what I was doing.
What do you have to do? I mean, is it sort of medieval? Do you swap sort of leather tabards for...
Oh, it's not trading. No,
okay.
It's very much casting spells and sort of sending a goblin to attack someone and things.
It's a whole different area of expertise. I feel such a fool.
What do these dorks, nerds and geeks drink during it? Are they having a mead or are they...
I think if mead was on offer, they'd have to replace the barrel, but the wooden barrel. But they mostly seem to be drinking your IPAs and your lagers.
You see, I have to be honest. These people, I like these. These are my people.
They were very welcoming.
Oh, they're so nice. But I don't. It's the games that trouble me. Would Frank Skinner like Magic, the Gathering? I think it sounds very up his strauza.
I think he'd like the cards. The cards themselves, the art is very... sort of it's all very beautifully made, and there's a lot of sort of interesting phrasing and little bits of sort of mythos and things that you can get into. The actual game itself can be a bit tediously mathematical, to be honest. But
Okay, it sounds my idea of hell, actually.
your two favourite things, orcs and maths.
Yeah, what do they serve?
Yeah.
Onions? Onion
there's
milkshakes?
onion rings in the middle.
Free onion with every tournament entry.
I mean, they should just call it Magic and Onions, the Gathering, if they want to really keep me away.
We've actually got some advice re-onions for you, Emily. 686 has said, onions are the enemy and seem to appear in every item on a restaurant menu. I have an
love
intolerance
686.
to onions and have to avoid them or the consequences are not good.
Well, I know what they mean by that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the bit of advice that I think is controversial. To avoid onions, move to China, where they are used in very few meals.
Really?
Unless you're at the all-you-can-eat buffet in Chinatown, in which case they're used predominantly in every meal.
Oh.
There you go.
I mean, it seems quite a drastic step to take. Moving
let's
to...
not forget they welded their citizens into their homes at the start of the pandemic. Let's not forget that.
And fed them onions.
Yeah. Absolute Radio. I listening to Absolute Radio. I don't think I'll be doing that. But you know what? What has been nice about this morning is that I no longer feel alone. You know, I've shared it. I made myself vulnerable talking about onions. And it turns out there are others that feel similarly.
Dozens.
Well, two. But, you know, stop.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about how I hate onions. We're talking about how our readers hate other ubiquitous,
Yes.
sort of staple foods.
Things you come across too often. Crowy Jr. seems to have not taken that the right way. They've said...
Crowy Jr.
Crowy Jr.
Is that Russell's child?
Yes. That's quite sort of Antipodean, isn't
Yeah,
it?
come over, Crowy Jr. Crowy Jr. I've told you.
Yeah.
I can do that. I am a half Antipodean, thank you.
Yeah. Well, they've said pulled pork. And I'd love to know where they live, that they can't move from pulled pork.
I was going to say West 11, I would imagine, in London.
Yeah.
Pulled pork. I would say that's quite... I know that's a staple.
They're beset on all sides by pulled pork.
I don't, but we're getting eggs and bananas.
Eggs, bananas, a lot of sweet corn, celery, mayonnaise is coming up a lot, which is not surprising, texture-wise.
Right.
Fair enough.
Also eggs.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
To be fair, that's double eggs. Mayonnaise, yeah. David Palmer, man after my own heart, baked beans. Can't stand them.
Oh, you'd think for him it would be ham. We've also had...
In the midst of cockerel. See what you think.
We've also been running another text in about...
when you say running, it's rather more chaotic.
Being eerily formal when a child, and 832 has an excellent contribution. When I was about 8, my younger brother pushed me over in the kitchen and I fell onto the wine rack in the corner of the kitchen and I said what was apparently a very arch way, "You pushed me into the pheasant gully." My parents still quote it to this day. Strong word.
Oh, I love that. Who was that, please, Al?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't worry. Now. You'll get to it. I have another observation to make this morning, which I'd like to point out to you, which is the weather presenters. They are a little bit, at the moment, there's a vibe about them, which is quite Martine McCutcheon. This is my moment.
Yeah.
It really is.
This is what we train for. It's the sort of thing they say to themselves on...
They're quite... Some of them, look, there's two approaches. Some of them are really coming at this in a sort of presidential campaign way, like, I'm going to make the most, I'm going to milk this. Some of them look a bit... They've got that, my wife's left me, I'm on the sofa beard.
Oh.
They haven't been to bed.
They've been up tracking the storm.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Dedicated.
whatever works for them.
I've got the same beard, but the wife is still here. That's a side issue. It's more a comment on beards, really.
Breaking news from the Cockerel House.
Yeah.
I like it. Al, what have you been up to, please? I want to know what's been happening Chez Cockerel.
Oh, is this... I believe I'm getting the fez as you're... even as you're asking how I've been.
The producer is waving the fez, but you know, not... What? I like to keep her on her toes.
Mainly watching bullies get owned on YouTube, but I'm sure there's other stuff.
Yes, that's our other text, and we should say is what is your YouTube algorithm? We've established that mine features dogs, some sort of gentle self-help, and Jay-Z. I mean, you know.
Pretty good.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The triumvirate.
I like you, Pierre. You can stay.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
What else has been happening, please?
Well, speaking of my goblins and ghouls themed tournaments, there are real ghosts out there, real spirits. Apparently in Toya Wilcox's attic, a violent ghost is living in there and attacked a medium.
Oh, yes. Now, I love a ghost story. I mean, when I say a ghost story, not that kind of story. Not it was a dark and stormy night and all that. But I like a story about someone having a ghost, thinking they have a ghost in their house. Mm-hmm. It always makes me smile.
I don't know if that's the intended...
No, but I like the concept of a paranormal investigator. Yeah. Is that a proper job? 8, 12, 15. Can you put that on a passport? Can you say I'm a paranormal investigator?
I'm not sure as comedians / broadcasters we're entitled to decide what is a proper job. Absolutely, honestly.
Yes. Do you know, I think you've owned me there. Fair enough. But it is a strange career choice, I would say.
Well, the expert on this is something of a character, I would suggest.
Is he a colourful, self-styled, colourful character, Al, as Frank would say?
He's got a strange, almost like bulletproof vest style gilet body cam thing on, like he thinks he's come straight from police camera action or something.
Why do paranormal investigators wear tabards? Why do they wear body cam?
It's in case the ghosts sue them.
He's wearing Kevlar or something. I don't get it. I don't know what he was expecting.
You would think they would wear... I would suggest if I was a ghost stylist, a paranormal investigator stylist, again, even more niche job, I would suggest they wore sort of ghostly garb in order to fit in with the community more.
I'd wear a sheet with eye holes.
Yeah.
So if a ghost appears that's too scary, you can say, "Yeah, tell me about it. I'm looking for these guys as well.
Blend in. Nice.
I want to haunt them so bad."
Yeah, and you sort of fold on and go, "Oh, I know, I know, I've had a nightmare as well. I want to go for a drink, mate." But a sheet with eye holes, but as Alan has pointed out previously on this show, Reebok trainers underneath, poking through. Always Al, in the regional ghost train. It's not a ghost without a Reebok trainer poking through.
No, it's the spookiest type of trainer.
But this character, is he called... I mean, it's your classic paranormal investigator name. He's called Barry.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were
spelt double R-I, Barry.
Oh.
Anyway.
That's the magical sort of twist on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very Magic the Gathering.
Very well maintained beard Barry has trimmed.
Yes. That goes well with waistcoats.
Well, Barry was filming an episode for a show called Celebrity...
What's in Toya's attic? Oh, no, my mistake.
No, that's none of your business. It was called Celebrity Help! ! My house is haunted. Okay? Now let's do it in the tone that they would have chosen.
Yeah.
Celebrity Help! My house is haunted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Do you like that?
That is good.
It was really well acted, that.
I was there in the attic.
Giving you, if you want to see more of that acting, you can see my work on Dare the Triffids. Currently available. It's on iPlayer currently, but you can purchase it. Did you know that, Pierre?
I did not.
Okay. You look a little bit more impressed by me now.
Yeah.
I wasn't a very good actor.
No?
No.
Oh, you were a minute ago.
Yeah. I don't believe you.
I was
Unless you were
trying to
acting
build
just then.
myself up. But I did. That was exactly how I acted. I think I had one line where I had to say, "Hey, can't you kiss her indoors?"
That's good.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't deliver it as well as I could
You're
have.
good at exclaiming. Hey and help so far have been very good.
So anyway, Barry on Celebrity Help. Can you try and do it?
I think I would naturally undercut the level of seriousness that they're expecting.
Give it a go. Celebrity Help! My house is
Celebrity
haunted.
help! My house is haunted. I can't even.
No, I'm really happy.
The idea of saying that so sincerely.
I'm really happy with that. I think they might use it.
Frank Skinner,
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about ghosts behaving very badly.
Yeah.
Is that a sequel to? Is that a planned sequel to Men Behaving Badly, where the ghosts drunk beer and
they're on
lived
the
with
other side.
ladettes?
Well, it's funny you should say the ghost drinking beer, because there's a bit where Barry is being attacked. I don't want to spoil the clip, but Barry's being attacked and he's clutching his neck, and somebody off camera is saying, I think, to the ghosts,
Yes.
"Step away, you don't have permission to do that. You don't have permission to do that." And it's,
Can I tell you exactly what she says at her? And then
Yeah,
she
please
says,
do.
it's a woman, and she says, "Step away, please. Step away, please. You do not have permission to do that."
now, here's my question. Are ghosts much more rule-orientated than I realised? When I'm a ghost, I was kind of hoping to express my more libertarian side and ignore rules, and it turns out if they're really admin-driven, I don't want to be a ghost as much as I thought I did.
I mean, they don't strike me, ghosts, as sticklers for regulations.
They walk through
Yeah,
walls.
like-
They break into houses.
Exactly, they walk through walls.
Yeah.
They break
rule's
into
gone.
houses.
Sort of.
They break objects. They're very noisy during residential quiet hours.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? I mean, the job description of a ghost, it doesn't...
A poltergeist, you can't have a rule-abiding poltergeist. Carefully
Yeah,
smashing
yeah.
things that need to be smashed for the recycling.
But
They
it
don't
did...
go into libraries and put books back, do they? They're messing them up.
Do you think the behavioural demands she's making of the ghosts are, let's say, a little unrealistic?
Yes, although it's
Yeah.
dangerous to bring the word unrealistic into this to this realm, I feel. I think once we start
see,
pulling
we've got
the
a
thread,
skeptic in our midst, have we?
Well, she says there's an audio recording of the ghost at one point, and at least it's quite original, because normally when you hear these ghost audio recordings, they're quite melodramatic and histrionic ghosts. They always hiss, don't they?
yeah.
and they speak in a baritone.
Yes.
This ghost, I think this was a bit of a soul funk loving ghost, because this ghost said, get down repeatedly.
Yeah.
I like that kind of ghost.
It could be James Brown,
Oh, imagine if it was.
causing chaos.
I mean, I hope he'd do a bit more than that if he was to return.
He would be he'd come in as a poltergeist and knock everything over, and then he'd stagger off stage under a cape and then be brought back on.
I just can't
Doing some
imagine
big encore.
if the legendary James Brown returned, the first thing on his list would be, I must go to Toy's attic
Yeah.
to rearrange
To choke
some
that
furniture,
psychic.
to choke Barry the paranormal investigator. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because this man said it was the most scared. Barry said it was the most scared he'd been in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He, to be fair, he does round up everything into decades, so it could just be like 10.5 years.
Yeah.
To be fair, so do I, because once you get to my age, that's what happens, dear. On that bombshell, that's all we've got time for. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here with us this morning, Pierre. Thank you
for
so much.
having me.
And you, of course, as ever, Cockerel. Frank will be back next week. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm sure he will be. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be off now. Be seeing you.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.